My name is Doug. I was born in Hanford, California, right at the beginning of World War II, and my father was a farmer, and he was froze on the farm because they needed cotton for the uniforms. We moved to a little town called Tulare. I went to school there all the way through first grade through the 12th grade. I had 6 brothers and sisters. I was number 5. I have a sister that was 15 years older, and a younger brother that was 8 years younger. Oh, it was fun. There's always somebody to play with or fight with, depending on how we felt. We had a farm that we grew up on. It was open and we had fields to run in, animals to take care of. There was always things to do. I worked with my father. We'd go out and irrigate cotton. I was driving a tractor when I was 7 years old. He was a very, very stable person. He was quiet. He was in charge when he was supposed to be, and when it's time to relax, he could relax. She was a good cook, made sure everything was taken care of. The artist, she got interested in art when my older sister was taking painting lessons. Sister just older than me. She eventually came home and lived with me a couple of years after my first wife died, and then she passed away from breast cancer. I didn't have a job until I was about 18 years old, and then I got a job as a box boy at the local market. When I was going to junior college, I drove school bus for 2 years. I went to College of Sequoias in Visalia, California. I studied music and education. I played the sousaphone. The high school band where I was at in Tulare was it was a real good band, and we marched in parades, and I had a good time. At junior college in Visalia, College of Sequoias, I was a sophomore and she was a freshman. So after I graduated from there, we got married and moved to San Jose, and I began my first career as a store manager. I got hired by a firm in San Jose. They went through their training, and then they transferred me to Placerville. We stayed there for 7 years. It was a variety store. They used to call them Five and Dimes. It was a Ben Franklin variety store. We had everything. That was before I wound up in going to Texas. My mother and father had moved back there. They were originally from Texas. They had moved back after I got out of high school, and my dad had a stroke, and so I went back to help my mother with the farm, and we were there on the farm for a couple of years. I got a 4-year degree in music education and a minor in business. At Wayland Baptist University, roundabout way, I was a praise and worship leader in Baptist churches for 20 years. When I withdrew from that, I taught special ed at Norco High School for 14 years, and 6 years before that at other schools. I really enjoyed working with the special ed students because I try to get their confidence and then help them to be able to compensate for their learning disabilities in some way or the other. Well, I got my special education credential and a master's degree from Cal Baptist in Riverside. When I got through getting my special ed credential, I only needed 3 classes to get a master's, so I went ahead and got the master's. Yeah, we had two kids, Rob and Ryan. They're 14 years apart due to the complications of my wife was on that first set of birth control pills that you got with the little round thing and punch them out. Bonnie Lee, she always wrote it together, Bonnie Lee. We were married 42 years before she passed away. She passed away with brain aneurysm. So then I was a widower. About 4 years later, I married a lady that I met at church. So I gained 5 children from her, and so I have my 2 guys and her 4 girls and a boy, and 2 of them live here in Moreno Valley, so they come to see me here at the Renaissance Village. It was interesting, especially having a big gap between the oldest son and the youngest son, but they get along real good, and our oldest boy was a very good child, a complacent child. The youngest one came out going 100 miles an hour and never stopped. Now he's married, has a boy. He's a good father. I'm a grandfather and a great-grandfather to 1 child, and grandson Brad is a teacher in Moreno Valley. My other grandson, my new grandson, lives with his parents in Riverside, right close, so I get to see him. Her name was Lorene, and she had, like I said, 4 girls and a boy, and 2 of the girls, in fact, they come here and work at Renaissance Village every once in a while. Christine and her husband Mike, they come and help with bocce on Saturday, 10 years before she passed away. Probably my hobbies was mostly the music that I did. I was a praise and worship leader, and I loved to organize the choir We were more into choir and older hymn type music. I did go one time with a singing churchman from California. We went to Korea. We sang at churches in Korea and in Honolulu. After my wife died, the first time I had a niece that lived in Louisiana, so I went back and saw Louisiana. Oh, we do bocce ball, that's good. And then I play rummy cube with some friends, and it's food you don't have to cook, dishes you don't have to wash, floors you don't have to sweep. It's nice to be retired. They're also friendly. They're very friendly, very helpful. They're there when you need them, and I was blessed to have lived such a interesting life. Like I said, I had 3 different careers. Other than my first wife dying, I wasn't really prepared for that, but God helped me through it. I'm happy here, so it's a nice life.